Hello everybody and welcome back once again for today's video of DIY investing. There's been a lot of fear around the market recently with the recent drop inside of Bitcoin. A lot of the alts have started to continue to drop lower and it's created a ton of fear throughout the market. I've seen some people inside of my Discord and I've also seen some people on Twitter actively talking about whether XRP is bearish or bullish. Recently I set out a poll to decide that and it got mixed reactions. About 52% of people were bullish and 48% of people were bearish. And so really there's a lot of indecision inside of this market. So for today, I'm going to go through, give you guys an in-depth analysis with XRP, some bullish perspectives, some bearish perspectives, and then how I'm going to be actually trading this market over the next couple months. If you guys find this video helpful at any point, do myself a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates in the future. If you guys would like more analysis and want to see my private analysis moving forward, click the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to get access to my Discord server. Awesome members, awesome people, and it's growing very quickly. So it'd be really cool to get some new members jumping up in there today. Thank you all so much for the support. Let's jump right in the video today. Okay guys, so to start off this video, I'm going to go through and really give you guys my all-around analysis when it comes to trading XRP. Because as of right now, we're at a very pivotal point inside of the market. We're either about to drop and make a new leg down, or we should start to see a breakout and move up in the upside if we are in fact bullish. Now, these are two perspectives that I've been following for a while. If you guys have been following my channel, you know that I've talked about these two perspectives a little bit. But for today's video, I really wanted to dive in and give you guys an all-around in-depth analysis with my thoughts moving forward. Now, with my last, well, I think it was about a week and a half ago, I made an update with High Altitude Investing, or Dallin Anderson, and I actually talked about a lot of what I'm going to be talking about with Ripple on there. And so to start off this video, I think that the best way for me to start this off would be to compare what's happening with Ripple right now to what happened with Bitcoin back in the bear market. So what I mean by that is the fact that in Bitcoin, we had this long drawn out period where we kind of just went sideways. We all remember that. Anybody that was here trading this market knows how terrible it was trading back down in here. Very boring. Prices didn't move a whole lot. Altcoins were dying the whole time. Bitcoin was still dying. It really wasn't a whole lot of fun. But what we saw here was what's known as a descending triangle. So what you see with the descending triangle is a horizontal support base followed by lower highs getting hit by resistance. So lower high here, lower high there, lower high there, there, and there. So we can see that prices bounce off of this support level and then they get rejected. Make a lower high there, lower high there, lower high, or make a higher low there. No. Make a lower high there, make a lower high there, lower high, and then we sell through it. And this is kind of what we're seeing here with Ripple. We saw that we started to see lower highs in market structure with a horizontal support base. Right? And so this is what I'm watching out for currently. And I mean, you could fit this in there a little bit, but it's a little bit more of a reach, whereas this to me looks like a descending triangle that is formed, where we have lower highs that come in, followed by a horizontal support base, lower high, lower high. Now, this is going to be our decisive point of really if this pattern is going to play out. If this is going to play out, then I would expect us to kind of sell through this relatively quickly. And have it happen very impulsively, similar to what happened with Bitcoin. Because if we remember, this was just one candle that sold through. My first target was 58. I said if we hit 5,800, that's my cue to sell. And we hit that almost perfectly before we ended up making new lows. And this is what I'm going to be watching out for with Ripple currently. If we do get a sell through, it's going to happen pretty quickly. And it'll happen, and you'll know exactly what's going on. And so this is what I'm going to be watching out for. This is a descending triangle based off of chart pattern analysis. And it's what I'm going to be watching out for to see kind of what happens from here. Because we're not totally in the clear with these altcoins yet. And I'm going to show you why. Since the bear market, we've continued to make lower highs. And that really hasn't stopped. We've had a number of these lower highs. 5 lower highs throughout this entire bear market, and we've yet to break one of those lower highs. And until that happens, there's really no reason to suspect that this is just going to moon and just go straight up, because it's not. In my opinion, the more likely scenario is that unless we don't get a breakout of this major descending resistance, that it goes for a new low. And so what's my targets if we go for a new low? How am I going to be trading this? What's my plan in place for trading this market cycle? And really all I have to share with you guys is 2 zones. Now we have my lowest target, which is 16 cents. And then we have my highest target, which is 20 cents. Now anything in between these 2 levels is money. This is where I'm looking to accumulate. 20 cent level to 16 cent level. Anywhere in between is just more bids that I can place and more time to accumulate. And so that's where I'm going to be looking to accumulate if we do drop. But we're going to have to watch and see. It'd be nice if we could get a little bit of a relief balance before that sell-off. But it's at the same time, you can't count on that happening. We could just sell off through this and start the down market move and start the down move relatively soon. But this is the way I'm going to be trading XRP. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to be writing this one out with a stop loss. Now, many of you guys might say that that is too risky. Many of you guys might say that that is bad trading. But for my strategy, I like to just dollar cost average in, and that's what I've been doing. I started averaging in at about 32 cents at this floor that we saw here with Ripple is when I started averaging in. So we're pretty much right at my average at about 30 cents. And so with that being said, most of my bids have already been placed. I'm not really at a loss right now. But if we did sell through, I'm also not really worried about this coin falling off the face of the earth, and I would just be looking to buy more anyways. And so for me, I'm going to be buying. I already accumulated my Ripple right here, but if we do sell off, I'm just going to be buying, not really looking to be placing any stop losses because I didn't over leverage myself in XRP up to this point. And so I'm just going to be looking to go full accumulation if we do go lower. But if we go higher, then everything's fine because I've already accumulated at this floor that we saw here. So this is my bearish perspective. I wanted to point this out because of the fact it is important considering Bitcoin just barely did this exact fractal. And so with, altcoins following Bitcoin, I think that it's possible that we could see something similar play out here. Now, this takes me to my bullish perspective because there is a bullish perspective and there's a bullish side that I'm watching. And really, this consolidation that we're seeing here shows a lot more bullish than it does bearish, in my opinion. Now, the fact that we are consolidating in a descending triangle makes me lean a little bit more bearish just because of the fact we haven't gotten confirmation that we've had a confirmed trend reversal yet. And so there's really no reason to think that we can't go for another new low when we haven't even yet to exit the bear market to begin with out of these altcoins. And so with that being said, let's drop this to a regular chart. Let's dive in here a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys the pattern that I'm watching because the current consolidation is very similar to what we saw previously. Now, we saw a massive bull run, we saw our cycle high here, and then we started our short-term retrace. Now, capitulation took us here. We tried to make a stab at that same low, couldn't break below it, and then we broke up and out of these lows that we saw here before we made an ABC retrace back down onto horizontal support. And then from there, we kind of consolidated sideways before we made our new cycle high. And this is actually a consolidation pattern that I've pointed out in the past. If you guys have been following me, and it's still true to this day, it's still something that I'm watching out for. We got our lows here, capitulation, retested those lows, didn't break support, broke up and out of those lows, ABC retrace back out, down onto horizontal support. Before the sideways consolidation is us accumulating before the next cycle. And so this would be the equivalent of this. But this isn't the only pattern that I'm seeing here. If we throw it back even further, we're going to start to see another consolidation that's played out. Now, I want to throw it back to the first market cycle because it's very similar to the current market cycle. Even the structure and the retrace is very similar. We saw a very parabolic run, we topped out of the cycle, and then we started retracing. But what I wanted to point out was that the fact at the bottom of that retrace, we got the same sort of capitulation where we make a low, we retest that low, and then we break up and out of that. And so the fact that we're getting a lot of the same bullish consolidation, even though we are in this bearish pattern, there is a possibility that we could just break up and out of this before ever making a new low. And so I wanted to point that out for you guys so that you can make your own trading strategy based around kind of what I'm showing you. Now this takes us to our last point, our last fractal. Let's compare this cycle high to the cycle high that we saw at about $3.80. So pretend this is $3.80. This was our bear market that we saw in Ripple, and we basically fully retrace back down. Now, once we fully retrace, this right here, this move, is our bottom that we're currently seeing. What I mean by that? So if we zoom up here, so this bottom that we're seeing right here is the same as this right here. And what I mean by that, so this was our low, this was our cycle low, and we had our first little breakout from that low, right? So we top out of that low and we retrace. So we top out, we retrace, and then we get our secondary relief rally that takes us back up to resistance, only resistance is too strong and we sell off from that. Now this takes us to our second phase, which is really just distribution. We can see prices kind of just going up and down, side to side, as it looks like it's kind of just rounding out right here. Before we get markup, prices break out of these distribution lows that we saw here, make 3 highs, before we bull trap at resistance and go for a new low once again. And so this pattern and this consolidation is roughly the same as what we're seeing currently. Some of you guys have seen this comparison that I'm making right now. Some of you haven't. We see the cycle low here. We break out of those lows. We top out. Now, after the top, we retrace. Only this second relief rally doesn't quite go all the way up to resistance, but it goes close enough that I'm not really worried about it. So then we make our double top, and then this takes us to our distribution phase. Let's throw up right here. Now this takes us to our distribution phase before prices mark up. Goodness. Prices mark up, bull trap at resistance, and then make a new low again. And so now we're sitting at 30-cent support based off of the last fractal. We came back down and retested that same support that we've been consolidating on before we got our spring-loaded event that took us up. And so from here, are we going to see a sell-off that takes us to a new low down, or is this the last sell-off that has already taken us back down to the 30-cent support floor, and this will be the last low that we see here? Because this is all possibilities, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys that this is something to be paying attention for. Because the fact that this is at such an important point in market structure, we've only seen lower highs all the way through, and the fact that we're about to finally get that confirmation whether we're about to make a new low down or whether we'll bounce and break out of that, we're going to really have to be paying attention and basing our trading plans accordingly. And so for this video today, I wanted to quickly go over, show you guys my bullish perspective with Ripple, show you guys my bearish perspective. I showed you guys where my targets are. I showed you guys where I'd be looking to accumulate. Not running with stops. I'm going to go balls deep into this and just look to accumulate for the lower low if we do experience that. But before we wrap up this video entirely, we're going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin pair to wrap up this video, and that is because the Bitcoin pair tells its own sort of story that's just a little bit different, but they're lining up accordingly to plan. Now, what I wanted to point out was the fact that if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that whenever I talk about Bitcoin pairs, I usually just compare them as fractal market cycles. And the reason for that is because this market cycle right here, this entire move that happened, is the exact same as what's happening right now. Now, I know it probably doesn't look anything alike to you guys, but I'm going to go through here, and hopefully by the end of this little video here, you're going to be able to understand what I mean by that. So what we saw here was our cycle high. This was our first little market cycle that we made before retracing back down. Now, after a full retrace, we get our first little relief bounce before making another new low. And then this takes us to our second high, kind of our double top, before we make a long, slow, drawn out retrace before finally starting the new cycle, right? And so I wanted to point this out because this cycle here is the exact same. Just less, or just more volatile, I guess you could say. So cycle high happens here, cycle high happens right here. Then we have our retrace. Now after the full retrace, we get our first relief bounce. Got our full retrace, we get our relief bounce. And so for me, I mean, we do get a short one right here, but I think that this bounce is this one right here, if I was comparing based off of fractal analysis. And then we make one more new low. Now this takes us to here before we start our second high. Right here, second high. Make our second high. And now based off of the previous cycle, this takes us to our long, slow, drawn out retrace before the new cycle. Now, based off of this, after we topped out, we make our first sell-off, and then we kind of consolidated here, sideways for a little bit. Now, it looks to be forming an inverse head and shoulder before, you know, we get this fake out, and then we sell through once again, but it looks similar to the same consolidation that we saw here. Little inverse head and shoulder before we sell off again. And so, based off of this fractal from the last market cycle, we're here. I don't know where exactly, because this sell-off's a lot stronger. Maybe something like that. I don't really know. We're going to have to watch and see. All I know is this cycle is taking less time to consolidate. It's taking less time in the slow retraces that we're seeing. A lot more volatility. And so I don't really expect it to play out exactly the same. But what I do expect to have happen is the fact that I think that we're close to the bottom of this. My target, my lowest target for this move is going to be about 15,000, 100, let's see, what is that? 150,000 sats. That's going to be my target for Ripple. I think that it's likely that we bounce from that level if we don't bounce sooner. And really the reason for that, we're at oversold historic levels, the most oversold it's ever been according to the RSI. On top of that, you could make the argument that there's bullish divergence happening right here. The severity of the drops in price are not being reciprocated on the RSI, which shows that the momentum is shifting. And so with us coming so close back down to this support zone right here, I do expect us to get a bounce either soon, before, or at that level. And so this is kind of what I'm going to be watching out for with Ripple. But overall, just exciting things. The biggest thing is going to be watching this major descending resistance to be broken. But with the incline of this sell-off that's happening here, with the momentum also showing that this could be exhausted in the bearish direction, that I think that when we do get a nice bounce, if we can break and pierce out of this major descending resistance, then that is going to signal the new bull run and the new cycle. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for Ripple. Wanted to quickly go over, give you guys my analysis, bullish and bearish perspective. Some patterns that I'm watching out for, both, like I said, bullish and bearish. But overall, guys, I think we are at the close terminal end of this correction. Based off of my last videos that I've had for you guys, that has continued to be the story that I've painted for you guys, was the fact that I don't expect this bear market for the alts to continue to last much longer. I think we're at the final capitulation stages. Whether some of these make a new low, whether some of them don't, or whether some of them don't, we're going to have to watch and see and really just wait and see what the market gives us in the short term to long term future. So with all that being said, thank you all so much for the support of this video. I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.